The first thing I recall was the silence that followed the crash. Not the peaceful kind that eases the mind, but a dense, living quiet one that hovered like a creature waiting to swallow me whole. I could hear the ocean roaring somewhere behind me, yet everything close felt strangely muted, as though the world itself had paused mid-breath. Fragments of the small aircraft bobbed on the restless surface of the sea, glinting sharply under the merciless blaze of the sun. I crawled onto a narrow stretch of shore, each breath scraping through my throat, raw with salt and panic. The surf tugged gently at my torn clothes, pulling me back as if refusing to let me go. My hands trembled uncontrollably as I scanned my surroundings, half-conscious, disoriented, and hurting everywhere until my eyes landed on her. She was sprawled a short distance away, face turned downward, her hair matted with seaweed, sand clinging to every strand. I staggered toward her, my heart drumming violently with a single desperate question: was she alive? When I rolled her over, she convulsed, coughing up mouthfuls of seawater before drawing in broken gasps of air. Relief thundered through me so fiercely I nearly collapsed beside her. Her eyelids fluttered open, revealing hazel eyes kissed with flecks of green, afraid, trembling, but burning with a hidden ferocity. That instant felt surreal, as though we were not survivors but souls dragged back into existence by fate itself. I didn't know her name then. I didn't know that she and I were about to be bound together by an experience that would forever reshape our lives. Before we continue, if you believe in compassion, forgiveness, and the beauty of second chances, take a moment to like this video, subscribe, and share it with someone who still believes in the strength of the human heart. Her name was Arya, a travel photographer journeying to document the forgotten islands scattered across the Pacific. I was a marine engineer accompanying specialized cargo to a remote research outpost. There had been only 6 passengers on that small charter plane when the storm swallowed us whole. Now only the 2 of us remained. The island where we washed ashore was barely more than a dot lost in the ocean, almost invisible on any map, wrapped in coral reefs and an eerie, ancient quiet. The first few days were nothing but pure survival. We sheltered in a shallow cave carved into the cliffs, collected coconuts and precious rainwater, and attempted to signal passing ships with fires that never seemed bright enough. But as days bled into weeks, and weeks stretched into months, a terrible truth slowly seeped into our bones. No one was coming. Rescue teams might have searched, but storms erase paths, tides swallow evidence, and eventually people stop hoping. We were becoming ghosts long before we died. In the beginning, we barely exchanged words. She kept her guard up, tense, alert, clinging to herself, as if afraid that even speaking would make everything more real. I saw the terror behind her calmness every time she stared out at the endless horizon. It was the look of someone watching her past drift farther away each day, family, ambitions, all swallowed by the vast blue stretching beyond us. I tried to piece together something that felt like a life: a small hut made from bamboo, palm leaves woven into a fragile roof, a crude fishing trap, a fire pit that took endless patience to keep burning. She helped in quiet, determined silence. Her palms blistered, her shoulders sunburned, her hope thin but still somehow unbroken. Yet survival wasn't our only struggle. It was the fight to remain human. Loneliness crept in like the rising tide, soft and constant. Nights were the worst. The wind whistled through the trees with a haunting cry, like the voices of the drowned calling out from the darkness. Every rustle, every snap of a branch felt like an echo of the world we had once belonged to. A world that was beginning to feel more like a fading memory. Sometimes I'd catch her crying softly when she thought I was asleep. She'd whisper names, maybe of people she loved, maybe of the life she'd lost. I wanted to comfort her, to tell her it would be okay. But what right did I have to promise anything in a place where even time seemed broken? Then one morning, everything changed. We had been collecting wood near the western cliffs when I slipped on wet rock and tumbled down, slicing my leg open en crawl. The pain was blinding, blood mixed with seawater, and I could barely stand. Before I could even cry out, she was there, her arms around me, her voice trembling but firm. She dragged me back to the hut, tore her own shirt to make bandages, and cleaned the wound with the care of someone who refused to lose another's soul. That night, as I lay half-conscious, I felt her hand holding mine. It wasn't just comfort, it was connection. Two hearts clinging to thinly thing that still made sense in a world that didn't. Each other dot from that night onward, something's often between us. She began to smile again, faintly at first. She'd hum songs while we worked or laugh at my terrible attempts to cook. She'd tease me for being too serious, calling me her storm face. And I began to see her differently. Not just as a survivor, but as someone who made even the silence off the island feel alive. Days turned to months. We learned to leave. We built agardin from seeds that washed ashore. We caught rainwater in carved bamboo pipes. We even gave names to places. The whispering cliff where the wind sank through the rocks. The mirror shore where the water reflected the sky so perfectly it felt like walking on clouds. We stopped counting days. Iceland was no longer a prison. It was becoming our home. But still, there were moments when reality would crash through our fragile peace. A distant thunders would bring back the memory of the crash. A piece of floating debris would remind us that the world still existed beyond this place. And every now and then, I'd find Arya standing on the beach at sunset, staring at the horizon with tears she tried to hide. On evening, after a long day of gathering food, she sat beside me by the fire. Theglow painted her skin in gold and her hair danced in the wind. She looked at me for a long time, her eyes reflecting flames, and then she said quietly, "Do you ever think we were meant to serve?" Her question hung in the air like smoke. I didn't know how to answer. Maybe fate had played its cruel trick, or maybe this island was our second chance. A chance to learn what truly mattered. She looked away, hugging her knees, and whispered, "I used to think I knew what I wanted in life. Fame, freedom, love on my own terms. But now, I just want peace." Then, after a long silence, she turned back to me. Her voice trembling but certain, "I'm just a woman. And you're what I want." Her words hit me harder than the waves ever could. There was no hesitation, no pretense, just truth. In that moment, surrounded by the sound of the sea and the crackle of fire, we weren't castaways anymore. We were two hearts that had found each other in the ruins of everything else. We didn't rush into anything. Love on that island wasn't about grand gestures or promises. It was about small things, the way she'd wake me at dawn with fresh fruit. The way I'd carve wooden trinkets for her from driftwood. The way our hands would brush and linger, wordlessly saying what we couldn't put into words. There was something pure about it, something that belonged only to us. But peace never lasts forever. It was nearly a year after the crash when we heard the sound, a low hum in the distance. At first, I thought I was imagining it, but then she heard it too. A plane. We ran to the shore, waving branches, lighting our emergency fire. The smoke rose high, curling into the sky like a desperate prayer. And then the plane circled. It saw us. We fell to our knees, laughing, crying, unable to believe it. Rescue had finally come. The night before the rescue team arrived, neither of us slept. We sat by the fire, silent, each lost in our own thoughts. The island that had once felt like our world was about to become a memory. I looked at her, and for the first time she seemed afraid, not of dying but of leaving. She whispered, "When they take us back, will we still be us?" I didn't think an answer. The next morning, a boat arrived. The rescuers called out, their voices breaking the silence that had ruled our lives for so long. Arya stood at the edge of the shore, her hand in mine. As we stepped onto the boat, she looked back at the island, the cliffs, the trees, the home we had built, and whispered, "Goodbye." Back in civilization, everything felt strange. The noise, the lights, the rush of people, it all felt wrong. We were heroes, survivors, faces on magazine covers. But fame is a shallow reflection of what truly matters. For a while, we tried to hold on to what we had. We met in cities, tried to plan a life together, but the world pulled at us in different directions. Her career took off again. Mine demanded travel. Slowly, distance began to grow, not from lack of love, but from thewit of reality. Months passed, then years. One evening as I was walking home through the rain, I got a message from her. It was just a photo of the island taken from above and her words beneath it. I still dream of it sometimes. Of you, of peace. I stared at that message. For a long time, the rain blending with tears I didn't want to admit were falling. Maybe some stories aren't meant to last forever in the world's eyes. Maybe they just live on inside us in the quiet. In the longing, in the part of four hearts that still remembers what it was like to be truly seen. Truly loved without walls or expectations. Because the truth is that island wasn't just where we survived. It was where we learned what it means to be alive. Waterwave Broken Heart. If this story touched your heart, please don't leave without liking the video, subscribing to the channel, and sharing it with someone who believes in the power of love and fate. Broken Heart Waterwave Speech Balloonin'. Tell me in the comments if you were stranded with someone and the world disappeared. What do you think you discover about yourself, speech balloonas? I sit here now, years later, watching sunset from my apartment balcony. Isometums, hear the whisper of waves in me mind, the same rhythm that once carried our hearts in unison. I close my eyes and I can still see her smile, feel the warmth of the fire, smell the salt in her hair. Some people spend a lifetime searching for meaning. I found mine on a forgotten island in the eyes of a woman who once said, "I'm just a woman and you are what I want." And in that one fragile, eternal truth, she gave me everything I'll never forget.